The last time I spoke to my therapist, I was rambling about the past, and she said, "Do you think you're still waiting for someone to say sorry?" I didn't answer because I didn't know, but she died in a car accident before our next session, and I still carry that question with me. I used to go to therapy every Tuesday at 5 p.m. like clockwork. It was the only thing in my life that didn't fall apart, no matter what else was going on. My therapist's name was Dr. Rachel Merritt. She was smart, calm, and didn't talk too much, which I liked. She never made me feel like a case file. She was in her late 40s, I think, with soft eyes and a voice that stayed even, no matter what I threw at her. That mattered to me because I threw a lot. Her office was in a rougher part of Denver, over an old hardware store off East Colfax, the kind of neighborhood where people don't look at each other too long. I never told her, but sometimes I sat in my car for 15 minutes after our session just staring at the street. Something about the noise out there felt safer than the quiet inside me. Anyway, our last session was like most. I came in tired. I talked too fast. I bounced around, jumping from memories of my childhood to my brother to the time my mom locked herself in the bathroom when I was 12. Dr. Merritt didn't interrupt me. She just listened. Then, right as I was pulling tissues out of the box, she asked me a question I wasn't ready for. "Do you think you're still waiting for someone to say sorry?" I looked at her, but I couldn't answer. I wasn't trying to be dramatic. I just didn't know. She gave me a small nod like she understood, like it was okay not to have the answer yet. I left her office that day thinking I'd pick up where we left off next week. But there was no next week. I found out she died 2 days later. A semi ran a red light up near Loveland. She was on her way to visit her sister in Estes Park. The article said she was pronounced dead at the scene. No other details. I didn't cry. I just sat in my kitchen with the lights off, replaying that last question over and over in my head. Do I think I'm still waiting for someone to say sorry?
I didn't know then.
But now I do. And that's where this whole thing started. After Dr. Merritt died, I stopped going to therapy altogether. I told myself it was temporary. I even Googled a few new therapists, but I never called them. Truth was, I didn't want anyone else. She knew more about me than anyone ever had. Losing her felt like losing the one person who could help me figure things out without judging me. But her question wouldn't let go. I started writing it down. On napkins. Receipts. The back of my hand. Do you think you're still waiting for someone to say sorry? It followed me like a shadow. I'd be in the middle of folding laundry or brushing my teeth and hear it in her voice. I thought maybe if I answered it, I could move on. So I sat down one night, made a list of everyone I was still angry at. It was longer than I thought. Some names were old, childhood stuff. Others more recent. But one name stood out. Dean. Dean's my older brother. We haven't spoken in nearly 4 years. Growing up, he was everything I wasn't. Confident.
Loud.
Athletic. My parents loved to brag about him. He played varsity football, got into CU Boulder on a full ride, and never came home without some girl hanging off his arm. Meanwhile, I was quiet. More into books. Stayed out of trouble, but also out of the spotlight. And that was just fine with Dean. He made it clear early on that I was the backup singer in his life's band. After our dad died, things got worse. Dean moved back into the house to help out. But really, he helped himself. Cleared out most of Dad's tools. Took Mom's car even though she could barely walk to the grocery store. Said he was handling things with the lawyer. And I let it slide. I didn't want to fight. I figured grief makes people weird. But after Mom passed, that's when it all came to light. He forged her signature on some documents to get power of attorney while she was too sick to know what day it was. He sold the house, our house, and told me I wasn't in the will. Said it all went to him because he was the one taking care of her. Only problem? That was a lie. I found the original will in a locked box 6 months later. She'd left everything to both of us. Equally. But by then the house was gone, the money drained, and Dean? He had moved to Arizona with his girlfriend.
No apology.
Not even a call. I could have gone to the cops, maybe sued him. But I didn't. I felt ashamed. Ashamed that I hadn't asked more questions. Ashamed I let it happen. Ashamed that part of me still missed him. Now, sitting in the same apartment I've rented since before she died, staring at the same empty walls, I finally knew who I was waiting on to say sorry.
Dean.
And that was the moment the thought hit me. Not softly, like a whisper, but loud and cold. He was never going to say it. Not on his own. But maybe I could make him. I didn't act right away. I let the thought simmer. For weeks, I replayed every memory of Dean. Every lie. Every moment I let him off the hook because he's family. I told myself I needed a plan, something smart, not just some dramatic confrontation. I wasn't going to give him the satisfaction of brushing me off again. So I started small. I knew he was in Phoenix, from a post his girlfriend, now fiancée, had made. She tagged him in a photo standing in front of a flipped house. That was Dean's new game. Real estate. Fix and flip. It made sense. He always liked fast money. I created a fake Facebook profile. Used an old high school photo of someone I remembered from back in the day who'd moved out of state. I made the profile seem real, shared random quotes, liked a few dog rescue pages. Then I joined a local Phoenix community group and started asking about contractors. A few days later, Dean commented on one of my posts. "Hey, I do renovations. Shoot me a message if you're looking for help. Great rates, solid work." Typical. I messaged him through the fake account, pretending to be someone who just inherited a house and needed advice. He was eager. We set up a phone call, and I recorded every second of it. For the next 2 weeks, I led him on. Told him about this property I had. Let him think I had money. Got him talking. He was too trusting, too greedy. Bragged about past deals, name-dropped old clients, even mentioned how he helped settle his mom's estate years ago. I asked innocent questions, let him run his mouth. Then, I dropped the act. One day, I texted him from my real number. No words. Just a photo. It was the original copy of our mom's will. 10 minutes later, he called. "Where the hell did you get that?" I didn't answer right away. Just let the silence drag. "Look," he said, voice tight. "I don't know what game you're playing, but you don't want to start this." "Oh, I already started it," I said. He hung up. And that's when the other twist dropped. One I hadn't planned for. Later that night, I got a call from a blocked number. When I picked up, I didn't say anything. Neither did the person on the other end. Just soft breathing. Then a woman's voice, quiet, almost shaking. "You don't know what you're getting into."
Click.
At first, I thought maybe it was his fiancée trying to scare me. But something about her tone didn't sit right. She sounded scared. I traced the number. Burner phone, Phoenix area. Nothing else. A few days later, I got an email from a name I didn't recognize, Melanie Kruger. The subject line was, "Your brother." No message. Just a photo attached. It was a picture of Dean. Only not current. He was younger. Maybe 18. Standing outside what looked like an old cabin in the mountains. Next to him was a girl. She looked maybe 15. Long blonde hair. Smiling like she didn't know the photo would come back to haunt her. There was something off about it. About the way Dean stood too close. His hand was on her back, just a little too low. The file name was, "Tell the Truth or I Will." I stared at that photo for hours. This wasn't just about money anymore. There was something worse. Something Dean had buried. And now someone wanted it dug up. I couldn't sleep after that email. I kept going over the photo, zooming in, trying to make sense of it. I didn't recognize the girl, but the setting looked familiar. The trees, the cabin. It reminded me of the place our family used to visit in Estes Park. We'd go there for a week every summer when we were kids. It was owned by our dad's friend, some old vet named Henry, who let us use it for free. The girl in the photo wasn't family. That much I knew. But if it was taken there, it meant she had been around us. Around Dean. I replied to the email. "Who are you?" No response. I waited 2 days, then sent another message. "Why now? What do you want?" Still nothing. That's when I decided I had to go back. To the cabin. I hadn't been there since I was 16. Took me half a day to find the address. I didn't even know if it was still standing. But I drove up anyway, took the same winding mountain roads, past the same rusted-out fences and broken gas stations. It was still there, smaller than I remembered. The wood was darker, rotting in some places. But the sign was the same, Stone Hill 4B. I walked around back, past the fire pit we used to roast marshmallows at. There was a shed behind the cabin, padlocked. I broke the lock with a tire iron from my trunk. Inside were boxes. Old stuff. Dusty and covered in cobwebs. Fishing poles, snow gear, a few plastic bins. One bin had photos. Dozens of them. Most were old family shots, people I didn't know. But one stack had newer prints. Glossy. From around the same time as the photo in the email. And there she was again. The girl. This time, she wasn't smiling. One photo showed her sitting on the cabin steps, looking down, arms crossed over her chest. Another had her by the creek, with Dean standing behind her, half out of frame. Then there was one that made my stomach drop. She was lying in a hammock, eyes closed, and Dean was kneeling next to her, way too close, his hand on her stomach. I backed away from the bin. My hands were shaking. This was bad. Real bad. I took the photos and left. That night, I tried to call Dean. He didn't pick up. So, I emailed the woman again. I found the photos. Who is she? This time, she replied. Her name was Lily. She was 15. My sister. He drugged her. He told her it was just for fun, that he wouldn't do anything. She believed him. Then she disappeared. I sat there staring at those words, trying to understand. Disappeared? I asked her what she meant. Was she missing? She responded. We found her body in 2009. In a ravine 3 miles from that cabin. They ruled it an accident. Said she slipped hiking alone. But I knew better. I found messages on her old phone. From a number traced back to your brother. I tried going to the police. They didn't care. Said there wasn't enough. But now you have something. I did. I had photos. Evidence he lied about being alone. Proof he had contact with her. And suddenly, the house sale, the forged will, everything else seemed like a warm-up act. Dean wasn't just a thief. He was something worse. A predator. A killer. And I had a choice. I could take it all to the cops. But after what Melanie told me, I didn't trust the system. I wanted more than justice. I wanted him to feel fear. So I sent him one more message. This time from my real account. You stole our house. You lied about Mom's will. You buried what you did to Lily. I'm done waiting for an apology. This time, I'm the one who's coming for you. He called me that night. Didn't leave a message. Just called and called. Then he showed up. Drove 10 hours straight to Denver. I heard the knock on my apartment door at 3 a.m. Open the door, man. We need to talk. I didn't. I let him sit out there. Then I sent him the photos. All of them. Along with this message. The cops are next. But I'm giving you a head start. Just like you gave her. I never saw him again. A week later, his fiancée posted that he left town. No note.
No volví.
He vanished. A month after that, a reporter from Phoenix messaged me. Said she was doing a story on cold cases. I handed her everything. Lily's story went public. Melanie got to speak her truth. And me? I still hear Dr. Merritt's voice sometimes. Do you think you're still waiting for someone to say sorry?
No.
Not anymore. Because I finally stopped waiting. And started making things right.